Hey guys, just a second. Where did it go? There we go. Okay, sorry guys, I had to fix the streaming. It's crazy. Facebook ticks me off, just FYI. One moment, and we will kick this off. Okay. So, I'm just happy it's working at least, but really quick. What time is it? Well, at least my YouTube is going. So I'm just waiting on my Facebook to go live because it's not letting me go first. But first, this is your first stream, you're gonna have tech issues for reals. And I wish I could show you, but I literally have a setup. It's 3 different computers that I have everything connected to because I'm doing the Facebook Live all at the same time. I figured 2 birds, 1 stone. So I thought I had this mapped out before I started, and I guess not, because there's always an issue. But thank you guys for joining me, my first live stream. Now, FYI, I am home for this. So I literally threatened everybody in my house within an inch of their life to be quiet. So my office is kind of taken over temporarily right now. So I don't have the space in the where it would be quiet. So you may or may not hear my toddler, and if you do, I am so sorry. But this is my humble abode, and you can see her beautiful unicorn that she absolutely loves. So I've been getting invites to different types of podcasts, and believe it or not, I have my own podcast that I kind of shelved last year just because I have a lot going on from all the different channels, the different projects, and I'm just like, and I still have to do research, and I still have to find videos and content, and so I'm like, oh, I don't have enough time to do all of this. And I miss my podcast. I had so much fun doing it because there's a lot of stories and research that I was involved in, and I really loved it. So I figured, let's just stream. And during these streams, I'll share. And so that was the other thing, is I'm starting to get a lot of written and verbal experiences and stories from people that they want to share, that they want to get out there. They're not necessarily videos. So this is just firsthand witness accounts and, experiences that they're having. So I wanted to talk about those too and actually share them. And there's one that I'm going to share today before the end of the call, from Jared Miller at I don't want to say his location wrong, out of Oregon. So I really liked his, okay, there goes Facebook. Hey, everybody on Facebook. We already started without you, sorry. I really liked his experience. He does have a video, but the video that he has, it's kind of choppy. So I know that wasn't going to be a really big hit, but it's what he saw and how he described it. He's an engineer by trade. He's a carpenter right now, but he has his degree in engineering. And he put his whole experience down from A to B. It's like amazing. So I have to share that with you guys. Mary Lightsense, hi, I found you on Instagram a few months back. Thank you. I'm glad you did. Paula Hawk, you are my girl. Once I start getting my merch in, I am hooking you up because You honestly make my day on YouTube. You're like one of my very first fans, and I love you. Like, I love all of your comments and your posts. You don't agree with all of it, and that's okay. I love that. So, you're my girl. My the bouncy unicorn. Yeah. So, just a little bit about me. And then we're going to get into the juicy bits because I want to share the story. I want to share the Sasquatch thing, and then what a politician recently said that I was really interested. So it's been 2 years. Started this about 2 years ago, and it started out as one video that made me go viral, and it was one that lads actually reposted and gave me kudos. And it was the Bigfoot sighting by Ken Carpentry. Nobody had seen it, and I was like, I'm gonna put this out there. And I kind of feel bad because he was hit so hard with just crazy, like, the Bigfoot Sasquatch world is, paranormal investigators are like all over that, and they hounded the poor guy. But I will live and die by that video because I know when he went back and said, no, it was fake, it was a prank, he said that so everybody would leave him alone. But anywho, fast forward to today, my whole goal putting the paranormal chick together was to be that buffer. So we all know when people come forward with their own paranormal experiences, their own, trauma that they've dealt with, or even could be good or bad, they're laughed at. There's a lot of people with negativity that will laugh at them and make fun of them, and so they don't want to talk about it, but they want to get it out there. So that's when I started thinking, like, you know what? I have my own experiences. People have their own experiences, and we're seeing so much literally on video. It's not just talking about it anymore. We're actually seeing it on video. So that got my gears thinking and turning, and I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to start posting it. And some people are anonymous, some people I tag, some people I don't. Unfortunately, when I find content myself, I don't have their handles, so I don't know who they originally are. But that's what started me. Now, fast forward to today, I still love what I do. I still think that there's so much change going on in the world, and so much more, there's just more openness to it. It's not like, right, oh, well, she's a paranormal investigator, she's a weirdo. There's no more of that bad negativity, right? People are actually open to it and watching it in all walks of life, from young to old. There's an up-and-coming Kids of Wonder, I believe. If they're on, I'm so sorry if I said your name wrong, but I absolutely adore this kid. And I've been meaning to share one of his videos, but he really has something there. Him and his dad really go out and look and investigate and research and put really good videos together. And he's just fascinated, and he's really young. Like, kudos to him. So that's why I do what I do. And I also love that I'm not the only one that's weird, right? I mean, I still do. I have my trolls and the people who are just like angry that I post stuff like this and I share it, but I'm just like, it's what people are saying. Don't get mad. I'm not here to make you question your religion. I'm not here to make you question God or say that there's no God, or that's not my goal. My goal is for you to just question everything around us. Like, there's so much magic in this world, and that's what I'm tapping into. So anywho, let me get back. I followed, sorry, I'm just really quick. Okay, and I'm going to try to keep up with your guys' comments as fast as I can, and then still talk. But I'm going to hit on, because I know, so I do post, and it really just depends on what people are, what kind of people are interested in, the trends. I do a lot of analyzing to see what's popular, what's going on right now. Sometimes just constantly posting ghost and scary videos, people get tired of seeing it, they won't watch it. So then you have to switch it up. And that's why there's a lot of different content. One, paranormal just doesn't encompass ghosts and hauntings. I think there's so much more to it. It's anything that's not explained scientifically is what I deem paranormal. And then I like to post my funny videos and just nerd out sometimes. But I really want to hit on the religious part, the religion. A lot of people, for some reason, think that I don't believe in God because I do this and I post different types of stuff that, it could be questionable. They don't think I believe in God. I do. I just don't believe in organized religion. There's two very different things. I've had some very crazy experiences in life, and I'll share one of those with you today before we get into this. I was about 12, between 12 and 14. No, not 14. I was probably between 12 and 13. Growing up, I've always had severe night terrors, just different things. Angels, demons, really bad. And I was like, had insomnia. But there was one incident, and it actually dealt with my mother. She was a heavy drinker. We all have our demons, and hers were her real demons she couldn't fight off. And one night, it was a really bad, heavy night. She was drinking, and with all her health issues, she had COPD, asthma, just heart stuff, just a bunch of stuff going on. She stopped breathing. And so I'm about 12 years old. I had my older brother who was about 13, 14. Technically, I was really the older one because he had Down syndrome. And then I had my little brother and my little sister. My little brother was a year younger than me, and my little sister was probably only about 7. So I pretty much took care of all of my siblings. We got her to the hospital, and I remember being in the emergency room waiting, and the doctor actually comes out and grabs me. And he pulls me to the side and he tells me, I need you to talk to your mom. I need you to convince her that she needs to stay here, because if she doesn't, she's going to die. Her lungs were shutting down. Everything was shutting down. She was not breathing on her own. That was it. So I remember, and I was a very tough child. I never cried just because we were going through so much. So a lot relied on me. So it was really hard. And I never begged anybody, especially not my mom. But I remember going into her room, and she had just IVs everywhere, stuff on her face, just everywhere. And she was thrashing and yelling and screaming and grabbing all of these IVs and telling them that if I'm going to die, I'm going to die at home. She was very heavily under the influence. So I remember it was the first time I actually broke down, and I begged her to stay there because I knew that I was too young. I couldn't take care of my brothers and sisters. It was just, as much as I was already taking care of them, I couldn't financially take care of them. I mean, we were that time living with our aunt and her boyfriend, so we weren't even financially stable ourselves. So I begged her. She said no. And she actually signed the release that if she were to have an episode at home, that, they wouldn't bring her back. That it would be the NDR or whatever it's called. So she signed it, and they released her. We got her in the car, and we made it to the front of my elementary school, literally to the front. She stopped breathing. So I remember me and my little brother pulled her out of the car, and she's laying on the lawn in front of my elementary school. I'll always remember this elementary school because of this. She's laying on the lawn, not breathing. And I remember the paramedics getting there, and then the look that he had on his face when he had to tell me that they couldn't do anything. They had to wait. They had to wait to call it. And the pain in his face, because he's looking at me and all my little brothers and my sister, and they just had to wait there. So I remember she's laying like this. I'm on this side of her head. my little brother's on the other side of her head. And we both just bowed our heads and started praying. And I remember asking God not to take her, that I wasn't ready. I couldn't take care of my brothers and sisters. We still needed her. And my brother was praying too. I don't know what he was saying, but I just remember praying and saying it over and crying. And to this day, I will never doubt what I saw. It was an angel. It passed right behind my brother. And the moment it passed behind my brother and past her head, all you heard was, she started breathing. And then I remember the moment that happened, my brother looked up because he saw something behind me and said, "Did you see that?" And I said, "Yep." She made it through that night. But that's the whole reason why I wanted to share that, is because I do firmly believe in God. There are things out there, there are forces out there that we just can't explain. There is that belief, but it doesn't mean that just because I post different stuff that I don't believe. I firmly believe. I just don't believe in organized religion. I have a hard time with certain religions and the rules, and they want your money. Just like, it's hard out here already. So I just wanted to share that. I love you guys too. So, but let's get into this. And then I will try to answer some more questions. And then I want to share Jared's story. Let's talk about, because we all know what's in the news right now, UFOs, drones. Before I read, because I have to tell you what this guy, was it an admiral in the Navy? What he spotted in the ocean. But how do you guys feel about this whole situation? And keep in mind, we are not the only country seeing these. So I've been on Red Note a lot. And I have some things to say, which I'm not going to say because I'm trying to keep the politics and all of that crap out of my channel. It's just because it's just so dividing, and we see it shoved down our throats right now on all social media. Everybody's talking about it. You guys already know with our presidency, and I don't care what side you land on. I really don't. It's just, I don't even want to get into it. But Red Note is really, really interesting. And I'm not telling people to go and download it and, do any of that. I'm not. But there's a lot of things that we've been taught that may be wrong. Just going to say that. But they have a lot of sightings. I actually have a video I'm going to share probably tomorrow about a drone sighting with an orb coming out that somebody had caught while they were walking down, in their park area. I thought it was really cool. But we are not the only country experiencing this phenomenon. Now, in the 80s, prayers work. Yes, prayers do work. But it's not just the prayer, it's the belief. I think sorry about my story. Somebody had said that prayers do work. They do. But you have to believe. You truly do. You have to believe and have faith. And I think that's where a lot of people kind of are like, that disconnect. But anywho, China. There is a lot going on over there too. And they think it's us. And we think it's them. And it's neither of us. But here's my whole thought and take on this drone UFO. By the way, I'm not calling them Dior bags. I'm not. Bethany Frankel started that on TikTok. And, right away people took to it and are like, Dior. No, it's UFO. I'll take drone at this point because some of them are drones. But I am not calling them Dior bags. I don't care how popular that hashtag is. I'm not doing it. It's just so dumb. Sorry, that was just a little rant. But I think it's a combination. I think it's a combination of something ET and then ours. And I think we're starting to see a lot of our new technology people aren't aware that we have that is going to rock our world. This tech has been out there for years, but they're finally releasing it. And I think that's what's freaking a lot of people out. But the question we need to ask is, Why did these UFOs show up? And why did we bring our drones out that they were trying to keep secret? What were they looking for? And New Jersey is still seeing them. There were so many stories coming out, you know, a dirty bomb, that there was a dirty bomb that was lost. And granted, there's some truth to that, because some of the, and I can't even tell you exactly what it is because I'll probably mess it up, but something that goes with a dirty bomb that, you know, makes it some sort of source material was lost in transit. And when that went missing or hijacked, that's when all of this blew up. So was there something on our soil? I don't know. But a lot of that was going around, but they're still out there. Like we're still, and now we're not, it's not just New Jersey. Now people are seeing these orbs and everything everywhere. And that's really the question. Like everybody keeps asking, why now? Why now? When we look at things around us, things are definitely happening, right? From the earth to the people, to the countries, to just everything is changing fast. And it may not be changing for the better. And I think that's why everybody's saying 2025 is the year of disclosure, because we're jacking stuff up. They're coming out like, whoa, guys. So the USA is trying to get the collective use drones, but it's the small drones you have to be careful of. Has anyone seen the small military drones that look like insects? Crazy. I shared a video of a bird, of a seagull that was flashing, and everybody's like, it just swallowed a light. The things we do to convince ourselves. I think it's crazy, but the planet's alignment, yes, the alignment of all the planets, that's going to be pretty cool. So yeah, the drone thing, there's more to it. Will we ever know? I hope so. One thing that I was really surprised that our president did was sign the release of the information regarding JFK and a bunch of other stuff. I was really shocked, and I actually have that video of the JFK assassination, and I'm not going to share it. It's already out there. I'm just not going to share it. I'm not going to. I'll get community guidelines so fast. I'm not going to, but it's out there, guys. It's crazy. And he definitely, that shot was from the front. Just my whole view on that. But now let me read you something. This is coming from Wednesday. Republican Rep Tim Burchett said in an interview Wednesday that an admiral, whom he did not identify, had told him of an unidentified craft moving at incredible speeds in the sea. They tell me something's moving at hundreds of miles an hour underwater, and it's as large as a football field. It's as large as a football field. And this was seen by an admiral. This was a documented case, and I have an admiral telling me this stuff. Burchett, known for claims that the U.S. government is hiding the existence of UFOs and other alien activity, said anything is possible given the vastness of God's great universe. I actually agree with that. I think our universe is like literally infinite. There's just, and we're finding planets that are habitable constantly. So for sure there's stuff out there. But why they're visiting us now, especially when we're considered in our infancy, that's the scary part. I think we're just making so much waves out in space that they're like, what are these people doing? But as large as a football field, and this is coming from a ranking officer, underwater. So the whole UFO bases in water, yes, they're definitely out there, but as large as a football field. That blows my mind, and nobody's talking about it. And I think we're in an era too, and I mean, I hate to say it, but I post videos too, but everybody wants to see, they want to see it instead of read it or be told it. So I think that's kind of hurting us too at the same time. A football field, yep. That's crazy. They be making fake birds. I'm telling you, you guys have to look at that video. It's the seagull one, and I believe they were in the UK. It's literally blinking. The bird is blinking. And when I read people's comment that it swallowed probably a light, I'm like, although I have seen a seagull swallow a squirrel. So, I mean, it could happen. But it was blinking, guys. Flying and blinking. And it looked real. Um, I saw them growing up. Jennifer Fox, I saw them growing up when I lived in Rancho Santa Fe, California in the 80s. Yeah, definitely. Just really quick, I want to make sure. I should be keeping. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Facebook. I'm telling you, it's too many computers going on right here. Um, Argentina. Whoop, whoop. Let's see. Ron, I am not repeating what you said. Sorry. Whoa, dude. You might need therapy, buddy. People can see this. Just saying. Hey, New York. His comments are making me laugh, but they're really crude. So, by the way, guys, I have an odd sense of humor. I really don't get offended. It's hard for me to get offended. I've just saw and dealt with too much in life that I don't care. You can say whatever you want. That's why I don't get in the back and forths, especially with the trolls on the internet, because I don't care. Post. You're putting me on the algorithm. um, but yes, can you believe that? An admiral saw a UFO the size of a football field underwater, literally zipping by them. And nobody's talking about it. I don't know. And then, of course, in March of 2024, the Pentagon released a report that had no proof of UFOs, saying that many suspicious sightings turned out to be merely weather balloons. Oh my God. And I think that's the part that where the huge disconnect from us and the government is. Nobody likes to be felt like they're dumb, like we're stupid. We don't like that. Nobody does. I don't care what side of the divide you land on. Nobody likes to be made to be felt like they were dumb. Like what you're seeing in the sky is not real. When obviously all of us as a collective we are seeing stuff out there. And a lot of it is not it's not ours. It's not man-made. It's something other. So that they're constantly using there's no such thing as UFOs. It's belittling and it's degrading and it's dumb. It really is. They're being shot in the foot with technology, their own making. This new tech, that's what's forcing all of this to come out, is because there's no hiding it. And I'm not just talking about UFOs. People are catching some weird stuff on I share it when I come across it. It's weird things that we only saw in stories and in folklore and in, handed down. They're real. like Bigfoot. Oh, if you guys have been following me the last 2 years, you know I love Bigfoot. And my whole goal, maybe this year, is to do my own expedition and go out there. Which I have to share something with you guys about that. And I was thinking about doing a video about this, but I actually want to talk to their family before I do, because I don't know if you guys heard, it kind of came out and then the story was kind of squashed. But on Christmas Day, 2 men had went out Bigfoot hunting in Oregon, and they turned up dead. It was a 37-year-old man and I believe 59-year-old man. Yeah, 37 and 59. They had went out looking and for those who are avid Bigfoot enthusiasts like I am, you know that the PNW, those type of Bigfoot are very aggressive, territorial and aggressive, if you believe, and they will attack. That's probably one of the more dangerous areas, that in Alaska. Very dangerous. Now, if we're talking Ohio, Kentucky, Even Florida, the skunk ape, they're not as aggressive and they're a little bit smaller. But the more you go towards PNW, Vancouver, Alaska, they're big and they're aggressive. These two went out, I believe it was supposed to be a 3-day expedition. They went out looking for Sasquatch. They never returned. And keep in mind, it was freezing temperatures. They never returned. I think there was about 60 volunteers that got together and went searching for them, and they found them. Their ultimate cause of death was exposure. They said that was lack of preparedness that they died. I find that hard to believe. One, amateur or not, if you're a Bigfoot hunter, you know you're going out into the elements. And these guys, a lot of them are really savvy. They don't have to be professionals to know that you need to suit and boot up. And you have to have everything with you if you're going out to the wilderness and dealing with weather that's in the negatives. There's just, honestly, it's common sense. And these type of people will do their research. They know what they need to take with them. They know where they need to go. They know what they need to do in an event that they get stuck, maybe in a snowstorm, and how to survive that. These people do, because this is their whole life, is researching and going out on their own expeditions. Not everybody can afford a full camera crew and a whole team from Discovery. We can't. So when you're doing it on your own, you know the steps and the security steps that you have to take. So for the official word to come out that they died of exposure due to lack of resources or lack of preparedness, that's insulting. And it pissed me off. It really did. Because I know, without even speaking to the family, I know that they were out there. So I don't know if people know this, but autopsy reports are open to the public. Weird. I know. I only know that because of a friend. She's like obsessed with death and autopsies, and that's her thing. But I'm thinking about pulling them once they become available, because I think there's more to that story. But again, that's if you believe Steve, Sasquatch is real, thousands of encounters. Oh, Paul Oliver, yeah, the guys at work were laughing at the story, saying that they were stupid to believe in Bigfoot, and no surprise they weren't prepared. See, that's just horrible. One, they lost their lives, and two, no, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. I don't. It just doesn't, it makes no sense. None, especially when you're dealing with paranormal investigators who know, who live and die by, finding Bigfoot. The most recent footage of the furry bipedal footprints were epic. Right? The Alaska, wasn't that awesome? And so when he was like, no, it can't be Bigfoot. But see, he had been dealing with different types of stuff around his cabin. It's the Alaska. This is from Quantum Trace 77. A few days ago, I posted a video of the massive footprints in Alaska from Tim Beaton, I believe. And they were near his chicken coop, leading away from the chicken coop, going into the woods. And he was like, no, this couldn't be Bigfoot. But what people don't know is that he had been dealing with other stuff around the cabin, weird noises, just knocks and different sounds, different animal sounds. So I, yes, firmly believe those were Bigfoot footprints. It's just weird too that, like, the second part of the video is he saw the deer prints and then maybe another footprint. It could have been a hunter, but the deer prints was interesting too, because the Bigfoot could have been going after the deer or maybe the chickens. I actually wanted to tell him, hey, count your chickens because some might be missing. But yeah, I love that video too. And speaking of footprints, let's do a quick 360 and talk about aliens. Hold on. I enjoy what you do. Keep up the good work. Oh, thank you, Louis Luna. Thank you. I appreciate that. I love what I do too. I'm never going to stop because I just love this stuff. And I have so many more stories of my own experiences that eventually I'll get out there, probably on my podcast. Not so as sad as the one with my mom, but a lot more stuff. And then just a quick sidebar. I lived in Montana for a good 6-7 years. Quite a bit of experiences up there. And I think that's really what really turned me on to Bigfoot, but really brought it out for me to be okay. Like, yeah, I believe Bigfoot was my aunt. My aunt is like a super Bigfoot fan. And before I would never really talk about it because I was embarrassed. I was already weird because I loved werewolves and vampires and all of that stuff. Like, I've been obsessed with it ever since I picked up a book. And I started reading probably because it was my escape growing up. So I started about 5, which is crazy. And then I got into actual chapter books between the ages of 7 to 8. And like I said, it was my escape from the world and my environment at that time. So I read, but I was obsessed. And I was like that little 8-9-year-old reading Stephen King, which I don't recommend. If you have a child like that, do not let them do it, because I found out about sex in those books. So don't. But what really made me come out and say, yeah, I believe it, and even to my own family and my kids, was my aunt. And that was just because she was out there. She was like, I don't care what people think about me. I mean, we even went to Colorado to the Bigfoot Museum, and I loved it. That was probably one of my best trips ever, even though I try to not be like crazy excited and make people, so I kind of internalize, but I loved it. And we took my daughter. It was just us 3 and my cousin, but I loved it. So she really made me feel comfortable to coming out. And actually, I was at her house when I did my first video on December 14th of 2022 of Bigfoot. And I was so excited about it. Please don't go back to that video. When I go back and look at my old videos, I'm like, oh, I was heavier. It was raw. It was raw, guys. I've kind of grown up a lot since then. I'm a lot more savvier with my tech, but yeah, but footprints. Okay. And I've talked to a couple of people about this, and people are like, I don't know, Myra. But then the same thing when I started showing them what I've called the octopus UFOs. At first they're like, no, Myra. But now they're like, wait, you're onto something. And they started sending me more videos of this damn octopus UFO that they're finding in different states. Like, another one was just sent to me, and I think this one was actually in the UK. And people are like, wait, that's not a kite. I'm like, no, it's not a kite. I'm sorry, but I will argue this one. I've seen those videos of people flying that octopus kite, completely different. From the videos that I post, I'm not saying that all the octopus videos that are out there people are starting to post are real, because some of them you can clearly see it's a kite. But the ones that I've posted are not a kite. They're not. It's too controlled. It moves way differently. They look differently, completely different from that kite. So I'm like, no. But anywho, so I recently brought up the issue with the footprints. And the reason why I'm talking about it now is because this is my whole thing that I've been telling people. We're seeing all this stuff in the skies, right? People are seeing all these different things in the skies. These things are going to land if they haven't already. And when are we going to start seeing that stuff? When are we going to start seeing evidence of just something off around our properties, of weird circles out on the river, which I'm going to share that video with you guys. Probably, I'll share it tonight. It's coming out of Virginia. It comes from a man who was working. He's off the Shenandoah. I'm saying that wrong, but that he works off of that river, and it's frozen over in literally perfect circular imprints all along the river of what looks like ships. It could be something natural. I don't know. I don't know everything, but it's just interesting. So this is my thing that I've been pushing with a lot of my peer network. If we're seeing it in the sky, it's only going to be a matter of time we're going to start seeing things on the ground. So now I've been getting different videos from people from Alaska down, especially the ones dealing with the snow. They're seeing these odd prints in the ground. And I've compared them myself to deer, to rabbits, to just different rodents, different things. And they're not matching up. They're not. There's this one video that I'll probably share, probably tomorrow. A young girl took it. And she was like, I know I'm not crazy, but looking out her front on her lawn are these massive tracks, single file. It's not Bigfoot because they're not the shape of feet. They're different. It's like a fork, like not even a fork, a prong. But here's the thing. People are right away, it's a rabbit track. Rabbits have a 4 to 5 foot stride. They can hop, but not that far. And this track is probably a good 13 feet, like a 13-foot track. She put her foot next to it and it like dwarfed hers. But the stride, the 4 to 5 feet apart, it was like this. And people are like, oh, it's a rabbit. What kind of giant rabbit is that? Like literally, that would have to be a giant rabbit. The lengths that some people will go to convince themselves that it's not real, it truly surprises me. I'll have to show you guys that video because that's not the only one though. And I've recently shared one too of the same type of weird tracks. It's like a prong track like that. Like, and then the booms. And I'm not talking about the booms underground, but the booms on people's houses. You know, like, it's like something is jumping on their houses. And then this whole neighborhood, and they were in rural, I don't want to say it wrong because it's on my profile. Somewhere in the Midwest. Can't think of it right now. But she literally talks about how their whole area, their community called the police. The police couldn't, they couldn't determine what it was, but literally something was jumping on their roofs, going from house to house. And it's a rural community, so they're not next door. They're pretty far apart. But everybody was reporting that they heard a loud thud and their whole house would shake. So keep an eye out. I think we're going to start seeing more of those sightings, more of the weird footprints, more of cameras going down. And that's the other thing is right away, because a lot of people now are starting to put up cameras around their house. They're going down. They're going black, and they shouldn't be. They are like literally being shut down. So just FYI, but I thought that was interesting. That's my whole thing now is we're going to start seeing a lot more videos of stuff around us. So maybe that's the next step of, disclosure. I don't know. Hello. Okay, really quick. You're beautiful. Thank you. What are the octopus things? So and this is Paula, really quick going back to the octopus UFOs. They literally, that's what they look like, octopus in the sky. I posted several videos of them. And some people think I'm crazy. I don't care. I'm going to keep posting them because I firmly believe that people are catching who are recording them. A Navajo police officer and his personal experiences is the paranormal ranger. I'll have to look at that book. My native brothers and sisters, I will have to look at that. Yeah, I love when everybody comes out with their experiences and actually talk about it because I think it's phenomenal. And we got to keep the stories being passed down, even if it isn't within your own people. We just got to get them out there so they're not lost. I remember seeing a photo of a baby Bigfoot from Clear Lake, Houston when I used to work at the Home Depot. I wish. See, I'm telling you, those are awesome experiences. Okay, because this is starting to go a lot faster. I only scheduled this for an hour. I have to talk to you about Jared Miller's story, and I'm going to read it word for word, what he sent in and his experience. Just because I really loved it. Now the video, I'll post a little bit of the video. It is choppy, it's hard. So I've kind of condensed it down to just about a few seconds of the craft that he caught. He was in his vehicle trying to drive. And my only advice to people when you're filming, start, don't stop. Try to eliminate any background noise. You're going to talk, you're going to breathe. Totally understandable. That's what makes it credible. And side note, A lot of the music you guys hear in those videos, it's not me putting it in. I just can't. I've tried pulling them out, but it takes out all of the audio, and I want that audio in there so you can hear what they're actually saying and doing and hear the environment around, because sometimes that's really important, especially when I'm reviewing a lot of the content with dealing with UFOs in particular. There's a specific sound that they emit, and it's not like our planes. It's like a humming frequency, and I can hear it. So when I hear that, that's when I know it's a real one. When you hear more of the drone sound, those aren't ours. I mean, those are ours. Those are not theirs. Those are ours. The more of the drone, those are ours. So if you actually pay attention, so that's one thing that we do all listen to when reviewing these type of videos, is the sound that it emits. So when you guys take it out, it kind of hurts it a little bit, well, a lot. But then when you put in that music, we're all tired of it. Just don't put the music. Leave it raw. And record from beginning to end. Literally. Just keep recording. Those are my only tips for you. Not everybody has a degree in filming, so I don't care if it's shaky, stuff like that. We have stabilizers to fix stuff like that, but that's my only thing. Oh, and don't write on the videos. I do have apps that can take out the writing, but it blurs it, so it looks like I'm hiding something. So sometimes people are like, why are you blurring it? And it's because people write on the videos and I can't fully remove it. So just those little tips. So I'll share his video, Jared's, what he caught, and it is a triangular UFO. That was pretty interesting. But I have a couple of questions for Jared. So if you're on here, I'm going to read his story, and then I'm going to ask you, because if you're missing time, that's the question I really want to ask you. So I'm going to just start. I know recently there was some odd orbs and drones witnessed in Oregon. I live in Walla Walla, Washington, and work outside of Richland, Washington. On Wednesday night, when I was driving home from work, I had noticed some odd flying objects that were clearly flying below normal plane elevations and were not moving very fast. In addition, they were blinking red and green and had some sort of constant white light coming from it at the same time. These objects were too far off initially to get a very good look at, and I didn't think much of it. I had convinced myself that they were planes, honestly. As I came over what's called the 9 Mile Hill, which drops you into the Walla Walla Valley, I saw one of the same objects flying low just to the west of town. I still couldn't tell if it was a small plane or not, but I was beginning to get more suspicious at this point. As I came into town, I was able to observe it for the majority of the 15 miles or better, and it was moving far too slow to be a small plane. Arriving into town, I would estimate it was about a mile, maybe 2 off the highway over the west end of town and flying no higher than 500 feet off the ground. I was driving 65 miles per hour, and I would have estimated at that point in time that if it was hovering, gliding through the air, it wouldn't have been traveling more than 30 miles per hour. The object at this point was at my south as I'm driving east on the highway on my way home. The highway shifts directions, and I lose sight of it due to its low altitude in my change in direction. I took the exit approximately 2 minutes of travel later. As I started heading back west to go to my house down Isaacs Avenue, I saw the object again. It didn't look that far away, so I kept driving in its direction. I drove down Isaacs for approximately 1 minute down to the stoplight at Wilbur Street. I had maintained speed with the object the entire time up to the spotlight, and it was to my southwest approximately a quarter mile away. As I sat at the light, I pulled out my phone and started to record. You will hear the latest Joe Rogan podcast with Lex Friedman on in the background, and it does have the F word in it, just FYI. I love that. As I sat at the light prior to picking up my phone, it did not appear to be changing its bearing nor getting closer or further away from me, appearing to be hovering in place. On the video, you will see I head south. The craft started moving east and appeared to be moving over Mill Creek that runs through town. It was flying no higher than 300 feet off the ground, as you will see in the video. I witnessed some sort of large triangular drone or craft. The next night, I was heading home from work and saw the same type of object hovering over the Columbia River in between Pasco and Richland, Washington. I decided to take a different way home last night along the Snake River called the Burbank Highway. It involves some back roads, but I travel them often and enjoy getting away from the traffic, so I will travel that way once in a while. I chose to go that way last night because I saw another one of those objects over Snake River, and I wanted to try to get some more footage of the crafts. I lost sight of the original object that had caused me to change my course. However, I was heading southeast approximately 10 miles outside of town. I saw another one. I tried to keep an eye on it, but it was flying low and the hills kept blocking my view. Approximately 4 miles from town, you get out of the rolling hills. The view opens up, giving you a good look over town. The brightest lights in town are from the prison, Washington State Penitentiary. I was heading south at this point in time, and there was another one of these objects to my southeast between the location and the prison. Again, flying low, maybe 300 feet off the ground. I decided to stop and pull over next to the grain elevator that sits there and get out and try to take some pictures and video of these crafts. I looked around, and at one point I could see the original craft I had witnessed a few miles back, and then another craft off in the distance to the southwest of me and the west of Walla Walla. I can send Google Map pics with descriptions and give you a better idea of the area if you would like to lay it out where the crafts were. It's approximately 7 p.m. at this time, dark and mostly clear conditions. I believe it was 28 degrees out. I ran across the road and into the field to start taking pictures of the craft, and while zooming in, I noticed that it was traveling towards me. I switched over to video, but I was uncomfortable at the lack of a distance between the craft and myself at this point, so I ran back to my car. As soon as I got back in the car, I started to film, and this triangular craft flew right over the top of me. You will be able to tell because I zoomed in and to try to follow its flight path as it flies over my head. I would estimate the triangular craft to be about 30 feet point to point at this time. He said, I would estimate the triangular craft to be 30 feet point to point or so, perhaps larger. By the way, he has a degree in engineering. This is not just some Joe Schmo. And even if it was a Joe Schmo, it's okay. I headed home after that in just utter disbelief. I have been hesitant to post this on my own social media because I do not post much on it in the first place. I don't necessarily want or ask to remain anonymous, but I really don't know what to think with everything going on in the world as I write this to you. I'm still in utter disbelief. The object appeared to my knowledge, my presence had appeared to the object appeared to acknowledge my presence and knew that I was there, whether that be intelligently controlled or not. I really don't think I'm making too much out of this. I think it's a big deal and people need to see it. The world needs to figure this out, and we need some answers as to what these things are and who's responsible for them. I truly am a skeptic by nature, but this is undeniable. Some key features of these crafts I've noticed in analyzing the videos the last couple of days consist of a few things. 1, constant white lighting, pointing downwards, circular in nature. The first craft appeared to have a rolling nature to its blinking lights, almost like the surface of the sun. 2, they make little to no noise. 3, they can hover in place and stay in flight, traveling at low speeds. And 4, they do not have any visible means of propulsion or propellers. This is probably one of the best UFO sighting experiences somebody has ever sent to me, from beginning to end. And like I said, he is an engineer, but his degree is in engineering. Currently, he's a carpenter in construction. He is a regular all-American guy, a skeptic. But now he's seen several of these, all while he's been going home and really close. And the reason why I'm asking if you're missing time, because that's really close. That's actually not normal. And those type of experiences are people who've had abductions, who will come back with trauma later. It'll start off as bad dreams, and they'll start getting flashes and glimpses of things happening. And it's usually because they've had an encounter of the third kind. So for him to get that close and that detailed, this is an amazing experience. This one had to be shared. So thank you. Shout out to Jared. I have the videos he sent me, and I'll put them together and try to get a pretty good combination of them, and then I'll post it and tag him. But 30 feet, a triangular UFO. And he's not, I actually had a friend who I can't name because he's in the service, but he was out, he and his wife were in Mexico, and they were out at the beach just relaxing. It was late one evening when he knows what he saw and what flew over them. And it was a huge triangular dark shadow of a UFO. And it was because it was dark out, and it was silent, huge, like football field huge. And it silently flew over them. That is not ours. That's something else. But when you're having encounters like that really close and you feel like they're aware of you, they are aware of you. So that really the telltale signs to know if you're missing time is if you wake up, you're awake, and then all of a sudden you're sleeping and then you wake up and you're like, whoa, when did I go to bed? When you've had a full night of sleep but it's not restful and you wake up, and this is over several days, right? Over a course of time, you just feel antsy and tired and headaches, and then you start getting these weird flashes when you're sleeping and of just weird things happening. That's usually the signs of somebody having an abduction. So just FYI, not saying that that's what happened to you, Jared, but this is a really close encounter. That's amazing. Walla Walla, Washington, I thought that was fake place made up by Bugs Bunny. No, it's not a fake place. The guy that leaked the egg UAP video said they have people that can communicate with us. Communicate with the UAP. They are called PSYOPs, psychic operators. Interesting. Mark Evans. So let's talk about a little bit about that before we have 10 minutes. What are they called? I want to say their name right because it was a government funded program. They're not psychic readers. Damn it. I was just researching it the other day. Anywho, it was a government funded program. So we're going to go back a little bit. Let's think Cold War. A lot of it we were racing against Russia to get the newest tech, the newest, one up, especially when it comes to the arms race, and just we were dealing with all the spying and all of that, right? Well, the government got really into trying to see if we can, if psychic and telekinesis, dream walking, the readers, but there's actually a name for the readers. Dang it, why can't I think of their name? Maybe somebody here will tell me. So remote viewers, thank you, Quantum Trace. Remote viewers, that is it. Okay, so they invested in this. They opened up a whole project and had remote viewers. They were testing people for psychic abilities. They were trying to make it a super soldier is what they were trying to do. They were trying to beat Russia into making these super soldiers. Well, remote viewing is a real thing. And it is something that certain people can do. They're in one place, and it's like their minds go out into the ether and they can connect with other places. Mind you, this was government funded and backed. I don't think that they created these people, but I think they found these people with these natural psychic abilities to be able to do this. And one very profound man that was very deeply involved ended up losing his life over things he found in one of these remote viewings. There's a whole big story about it because he was coming out to the public with the alien contact that he had here in an underground facility. And he died the night that he was coming out. He supposedly took his own life. You can find that on any documentary about it. But the gateway, yep. And keep your eye on Stargate. They're floating it as a new technology, AI technology that our president is currently backing. But keep your eye on Stargate. There's a reason why they called it Stargate. Uh, anyways, these remote viewers can tap in to this place and go to, you know, they. I'm gonna just talk about this lady. She was doing a remote viewing, and she found herself in Alaska, in an underground facility that was with the dark pyramid. Some of you guys may know what I'm talking about. Some of you may not. I still have been thinking about going back and forth and doing my own little thing on it. It came out on a documentary briefly. They talked about the dark pyramid that's supposed to be underground in Alaska. Side note, that was confirmed by the Chinese. And what people don't know is that people are scientists, not just us, but around the world, they do seismic testing, sonic testing underground. It's a lot to do with weather patterns, just the earth stability, all of that stuff, right? Well, China did a huge seismic testing, and it resonated through the entire planet, and they got all kinds of readings back. And in one of those readings, they found this gigantic pyramid, but it was underground in Alaska, in the area of Alaska. And then fast forward a little bit, we have certain documentaries. I think it's the Alaska Triangle. One of the documentaries, one of the few documentaries that actually talked about it. Is it? Somebody on here should know that one other than me. It's really good. If you haven't seen it, you need to see it. They briefly talk about it and its connection to China and how China actually outed us and said, and that was covered up. Anywho, the remote viewer taps into something in that facility, and she's seeing people, humans, working alongside aliens around this triangle or this pyramid, this dark pyramid. It's black. It's a big black pyramid. And they think it's some sort of energy source. But it's just interesting what she was saying. And then she got to the point to where she said she was going to stop talking because she was on camera and was really uncomfortable. Because it's her husband, her and her husband, he helps her. As she's seeing this in her head and dreaming it, he's writing it down for her. And she's literally, and they're filming her, and she's literally telling them, I'm not comfortable. I'm no longer comfortable saying this out loud while I'm being filmed. So there's a lot of stuff out there, especially when you get into really investigating. Just be careful. Just really be careful. But there is a lot of stuff out there that people, it comes out, but then the right people, I guess, don't see it, and then it kind of goes away. But that one stuck with me. So we're taught the skill, remote viewers. So Jesse Graywolf, remote viewers were taught the skill. I think, yes, I can agree with that to a point, but I think there's still some sort of ability within you that you have to carry, because not anybody can remote view. It's just like when you're dreaming, and some people can do astral projection. Not everybody can do that. You can have the ability if you're taught, if you believe into the whole spiritual, your third eye, all of that stuff. But humans now, us now, we've kind of been shut down. There's so much a part of our brains that we don't use. And then already with society putting everybody in these boxes, and this is what's normal. And by people staying in that normal box, we're losing a lot. I kind of had a different upbringing. I grew up with old stories, old ways. Some say the women in my family kind of had witchy tendencies. My mom was the one in our family that they would go to when there was something evil. I remember, I'll share this story with you guys. We were in California, and I remember we were at our house, and all of a sudden, all of my aunts and uncles started calling my mom, telling her she needed to come over to my other uncle, my great uncle's house, because the El Muerte was there. El Muerte is like death, that he was there. And I remember, and again, this is, everybody's partying, but I remember she grabbed all of us, and her cousins were with her, my uncle's daughters, and they pulled us all into the station wagon, and they called my mom, you need to come, El Muerto is here. Please, you have to come, basically, to remove it. And I remember she grabbed all of us, put us into the car, and we took off over there. And they put us in the house. I don't know what happened because we were in the house in a room and she was in the back with the whole situation happening. But just stuff like that is what I kind of grew up on. Whether people believe it or not, I don't know. What they did, I don't know. What she saw, I never know. And how she got rid of it, I don't know. But so I'm a little bit more open to the stories. And then we got to keep in mind, there are stories from different cultures, especially my native people, that go back to the beginning. And a lot of it, it's warnings and teachings of what was experienced, what was taught, and is handed down. And there are warnings and teachings of what to do and not to do. But when we lose that, then we have a lot of people who are now dealing with the paranormal and who are getting hurt by it because they don't have the safeguards that somebody typically who grew up with it have. So just be very careful. Not everything is a joke, and not everything is fake, and not everything, and some of it can be faked, and it is fake, but not all of it. And when you're dealing with like the Ouija board and different tools, those are tools, but not tools for everybody to use. It's scary, so you got to be careful. So that was my only thing. I'm too tired. I'm too terrified to astral travel. You should be. It's very dangerous. Astral projection. And again, there's going to be some people who don't believe in it and who do. It's actually been studied scientifically. And there are some people who can naturally do astral projection. But you have to be very careful. Your spirit is leaving your body. That means your body is open. And if you're too far long gone from your body, you can lose it completely. You're basically dead. But again, your body is open. So if there are other spirits around, be very careful. You uploaded documents from the CIA called the Gateway. We talked about that. Yes. Pyramids are energy centers. Oh, we're at time. We'll have to talk about pyramids in my next live stream. I think there's a lot more to them than just looking. They're not tombs. They're not. But we are at time, so I will end it here. I'm going to try to do this at least, once every 2 or 3 days, or kind of a weekend thing. See how everybody likes it. And more stories. So I want to share more stories. My goal is to have at least one story every podcast of one of your, whoever submits it. That's, if you're okay with me sharing it, I want to share at least one story. I am going to share a vampire story on my next, I'll probably do a stream tomorrow. That's what I'll do. I'll do this on the weekends, on Saturdays and Sundays, Monday through Friday. If you guys really want me to, I'll probably do one on like a Wednesday or something. Because I'm sure there's a lot of people out there streaming, and you probably are watching everybody. So I don't want to overload you, but I love doing this too, because eventually my goal is to work towards my own show. But I have a vampire story I want to share with you. I thought this one was really cool because it's really old. It's from like the 80s, but it was just the whole circumstance around it and how this guy just disappeared. So cool. And by the way, other than dogmen, vampires are very hard, or one of the hardest paranormal to capture. They really are. And it's not really that there's no videos, actually. It's just experiences that people have. That's really all we can share. So I want to share more of those. But for now, thank you guys all for joining. And Jared, thank you so much for sharing your story, because that was amazing. Just be very careful. And when your gut is telling you to leave, leave. Stop recording, go. Listen to your instincts. But thank you all. Stay tuned. Like, subscribe, follow me whichever channel. As you guys all know, I am on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, Red Note, X,